Hi guys, it's Lynn with Curiosity Crochet. Today I thought we would do something just a little bit different again. I wanted to do like a doily, like something that you can put under a lamp or on your dresser or something. Just something nice and pretty. And I had this Lion Brand Kobu lying around, and it's a 3-weight. It's a nice 3-weight. This one's actually 50 cotton and 50 rayon from bamboo. So it's real soft. It makes like a real nice anything. Like you could make clothing out of this, but I don't have enough of it to make anything big, so I thought maybe I would make some doilies, and I thought this would be really fun to share with you guys. And I found a stitch that I want to try this with, and I'm going to make it a little bit different than most doilies are made. I'm not going to make it in the round. I'm going to make it as like a piece, and then we're going to put single crochets around it and round the corners, and then I have a border to put on it that I think is going to be a real knockout winner for it. So I suggest using a 3-weight for something like this. So any 3-weight will work. You don't have to use what I'm using. If you have it on hand, then you can try it with me, but any 3-weight will work. I'm going to do the piece in one color, and then I'm going to do the border in, I have like a tan color that I'm going to use for the border. I actually haven't decided fully if I want to do the piece in tan and then do the border in pink, because I don't know if you can see this real good, but this is called pale pink. It's very pale, so I don't know if you can see that color or not. But the other one I have is just like it's a tan color. I don't have it right here by me because I'm still trying to decide if I want to do it one way or the other. So oh, and then I'm using an obscenely big hook because I want it to be kind of lacy looking. So this actually recommends a 4mm, but I'm either going to use a 6 or a 6.5. Now, I jumped into making this video because I was excited about this. Now, I'm going to make my final decisions. So when I come back to you, I'll tell you exactly how I'm doing the colors and which size hook I'm using, and then we'll wrap it all together and get going. But I just wanted to get on and say that I'm using a 3-weight. We're going to use a big hook. I'm probably going to use the 6.5 because I want it to be very lacy. When I tried working it up before, I tried doing it with a 5.5, and it wasn't lacy enough for what I'm going for. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with a 6.5. So any 3-weight, and I'm going to say we're using the 6.5. So any 3-weight and your 6.5 hook, and then of course you need your scissors and your tapestry needle. There's nothing really to measure on this one. It's more eyeballing because you can make it as big or as small as you want it to be. The stitch isn't real hard that I'm using, and nothing is real difficult. The border is a little bit different. I'm not going to say it's difficult because I'm going to show you, we're going to walk through it, and I think everybody should be able to do it. I'll try to go as slow as I can with it, but it shouldn't be difficult. It's different and it's pretty, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So let's all get our stuff together and get situated, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get going on this. Okay, so I have decided I'm going to do this color and then use the pale pink as my border because I think it'll be cuter that way. And the color of this one's called beige. So it's pretty too. It's a pretty beige color. Now, this stitch we're going to use, we're going to make a chain because we're going to work back and forth. So we're making it's going to be a rectangle piece is what we're making. And then we're just going to work that up to be however big you want yours to be. So you can make it as wide as you want and as tall as you want, but just make sure you make it long enough that it's going to turn into a rectangle. You don't really want a square. You want it to be more of a rectangle. So, and for your beginning chain, so we're going to make a slip knot. Well, I missed the hole. We're going to make a slip knot, and then you want to chain an odd number of stitches. So any odd number, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, like that, up until you get it long enough for what you think you want it to be. Now with 3 weights, it's going to take a little bit more, and it's probably not going to look as long as you want it to be, but just if you want to, just place it down on a surface and see how long it's looking. And we're only going to skip 1 chain when we go, so it's definitely going to be the length that you chain. So just go ahead and chain up an odd number. I'm going to chain up an odd number, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I chained mine. I did 51 chains. So it's going to be a nice length here. It'll be a nice start to my rectangle. So like I said, I started with 51. You can start with whatever you want. If you want yours to be longer than that, you can definitely do more chains. If you don't necessarily want it as long as I'm making it, you can make it shorter. I just want mine to be nice and long because I think I'm going to give this to my mother-in-law or my sister-in-law because she likes these colors. And my intention is for it to lay like on the top of their dresser, and you can put stuff on it then. So you can make it any length you want to. What we're going to do is I'm working in the back bumps. So if you're looking at it this way and you turn it, you can see that there's these back bumps to work into. And I like working back there just because it gives a cleaner edge when you're working on projects like this. Now, you don't necessarily need it because we're putting a border around this. It's just sometimes it's easier to work into this way too when you come back around. So to start off, we're going to skip that first chain, and mine's kind of tight, but it's right here. This is the second chain here. It's kind of hard to see, but we're going to go in there. Well, I'm going to try. I chained a little tight. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to pull up a loop. Okay? Then we're going to go to the next chain, not pulling through or anything, leaving that on there. We're going to go to the next chain. We're going to go in there and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to skip 1 chain now, and in the next we're going to go in there and pull up a loop. And now you should have 4 loops. And we're going to pull through all 4. And we're going to chain 1. Okay, so this is kind of like a star stitch, but they call it the daisy stitch because it's just a tad different. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in to where that chain is. So we're going to work into here first. We're going to go in here and we're going to pull up a loop first. So we're going to go in there and pull up a loop. Now we're going to go back into the same stitch that our last one is done in. We're going to go in there and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to skip the next chain, and in the one after that we're going to go in there and pull up 1 more loop. You'll have 4 loops, and you're going to pull through all 4, and you're going to chain 1. Now this is going to be lacy. Now one thing I'm going to tell you is if you don't want it to be as lacy as mine's going to be, you can definitely use a smaller hook. There's no problems there. You can definitely use a smaller hook. So we're just going to keep repeating that now. We're going to work into this chain space here. We're going to go in there and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to go into this where we worked the last one, where we pulled up that last loop. We're going to pull up a loop there. We're going to skip 1, and we're going to go to the next and pull up a loop from there. We'll have 4 loops. We're going to pull through all 4, and we're going to chain 1. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way down our chain. I'll show you one more time. We're going to go in here in our chain space. We're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. We're going to go right down below that where we worked our last one. We're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to skip the next chain, and in the following one we're going to insert. I chained way too tight, you guys. And we're going to pull up a loop, 4 loops. We're going to pull through all 4 loops, and we're going to chain 1. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way down. And like I said, if you are looking at it and you're saying, you know what, I don't want mine to be that loose, you can use a smaller hook. So whatever you want, whatever you're going to like is what I want you to do. So, and the front and the back, they look pretty much the same. So it's just that I wanted mine to be very lacy and holey looking so that it lays nice. So it's totally up to you. If you like the way this is looking, keep using the bigger hook. If you want it to be a little tighter, then go ahead and use a smaller hook. Okay, so if you decide you want a smaller hook, you can just rewind and rewatch that and then meet back after this row. So I'm going to let you guys go ahead and work your length of the chain. I'm going to work mine, and then I'll meet you when we get towards the end here, okay? I'll meet you back. Okay, as you're coming down, and you work all the way down, there'll be 2 stitches left. Now, I chained way too tight, but you're going to finish it off exactly the same. You're going to go in that chain space, you're going to go down here, and then you're going to go in that last chain. I'm going to get in there, I promise. You're going to pull up that last loop with your 4 loops, pull through all 4, and then chain your 1. And now what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do for the entire piece, is what we're about to do. So now you're technically supposed to chain 2 more. Okay, but when you turn it, it makes it kind of hard. Now, because we're going to be working into these chains. So you can either chain 2 more or you can chain 3 more. I'm going to show you what happens when you chain 2 more. So what you do, because this is how we're going to start the row, and I'm trying not to confuse you guys. So technically right here is your first chain, and this is your second chain here. So you want to work your first leg in that second chain. So try not to chain too tight, because then this happens. But you're going to pull up a loop from that second chain. Then you want to go into this chain here that's like your hole there, and you're going to go in there and pull up a loop, and then you're going to jump to the space, because we're going to be working in basically those holes that the daisies have created. So you're skipping one just like before, and you're going into that space, bringing up a loop. Now you've got your 4 loops, and it'd be nice if my camera would stay focused, and you pull through the 4 and chain your 1. So there you've got your nice corner where we're starting. And then you're just going to repeat what we did before, but only difference is you're skipping this stitch and working into the spaces we've created. So they look bigger, and it's the holes that we've created. So you'll still start right here in this chain 1. Now you'll go down right below into here, pull up a loop, and then you'll jump to the next and pull up a loop. You've got your 4 loops, you pull through all 4 and chain your 1. I'm going to show you again just so I want everybody to get it. So you're going to go into here, your chain 1 space. That's where you go in for your first leg. Then you go right below into where you last worked, pull up a loop, and then you're going to skip this one here and go in here, pull up a loop. You've got your 4 loops, pull through all 4 and chain your 1. And you're just going to repeat that all the way down. And I'm going to show you one more time how to do how you start the next row. So go ahead and work all the way down. I'll meet you when we get down here, and we'll do the start up again. Okay, when you come down to the side here, or to the end here, you're going to chain your 1 still. You're going to go in and you're going to finish this last one, and I'm going to show you. You go in to these two here, and then you're going to skip this, and there should be a chain one space at the end here from where we chained one, and that's where you want to grab your last leg to get your 4 loops, and then pull through all 4, and then chain your 3 to begin the next row. And you're going to do this at the end of each row. So I would be careful how you chain. It gets easier with the chain 3s. This was just our initial, like, from when we started, so it's real tight, so just be careful. So then again, to start the next row, we're going to start in the second chain. We're going to pull up that first leg from the second chain, and I keep chaining too tight. Don't follow my lead, I guess. Make sure you just chain loose so you can get in there. So there, and then your second leg, you're going to go into that bottom chain, and then you're going to go right into the next eye. I would call it the eye of your last daisy. So you skip that one stitch and go into the eye. And I'm splitting my yarn, you guys. Well, and then you chain your 1, and then you start over. Now, that's all you're going to repeat back and forth until you get it to the height of your piece that you want it to be. So mine's not going to be extremely big, but it'll be big enough to lay on top of a dresser or under a lamp or something. So remember, we want it to be more of a rectangle, so don't bring it too big that it makes a perfect square. You want to bring it to a spot where it stays rectangle. So go ahead and work that up. Eyeball it to, you know, a rectangle, and then we'll meet back, and I'm going to change colors. You don't have to change colors. You can do it the same color if you want. And we'll do the border. And the first round of the border is really easy, and then I'll show you the actual pattern of the border, and it's so cute. You guys are going to love it. So go and work it up, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I've got mine worked up to the width that I want it to be. It doesn't have to be terribly huge because it is just a doily. It's totally up to you, though. You make it however big or small you want it to be. I am going to tie off and change colors, but I'm also going to change hook size for the border. I'm going to go down to a 5.5 for the border. So I used a 6.5 for the piece of fabric, and I'm going to use a 5.5 for the border. Now, it didn't take me too terribly long to work this up, but I did have dinner in between, so it took me a little longer than I wanted it to, but I'm just gonna, I'm trying to decide if I just want to go across. Yeah, I'm just gonna attach it here, at the top here. Now, because we work normally in the side, you know, we work in that chain 1, that's where I'm going to bring in my color, is in that chain 1. Oops, I split my yarn. I'm just going to use that as my guide there, and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to go, well, I'm going to pull my yarn, I guess. I'm going to go in to that same spot and I'm going to do 4 double crochets right there, because we're going to treat this as our corner, and we're going to do 4 because I want my corners to be a little rounded. So 3 will give it too much of a peak, where I feel like 4 or even 5 will round it out a little bit more. So I've got 3 there. Let me do one more. So right there in that corner, we're going to do 4 because it's going to round it out a little bit more. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just going to work 1 in each one of these stitches across the top. And just now you're going to go into every single spot that you can. Now the border's not too terribly huge where it's going to add a ton of extra fabric, but it's big enough that you don't have to, you know, if you feel like you want your piece of fabric to not be too wide because we're adding a border, that's totally acceptable because it will add a little bit of length and width to it. Not, you know, a ton, but enough. And I'm crocheting in this end. I'm probably gonna, it's all split right there, so I'm just gonna stop. But anyways, so you don't have to watch me do this all the way down. Go ahead and put 1 single crochet in each one of the stitches across the top here. And then when I'll meet you guys back when we get down to the other corner. Okay, when you come down to the corner here, you're going to go into your big spot here, and then you've got this little spot here, and that's where I want you to go in and put 4 single crochets right there. Now, if you want to do 5 to round it out even more, you can do 5. That wouldn't hurt it a bit. Because I think when I was down here, I think I ended up with 5 in here. Because I am slow like that. So I think I'm going to do 5 in each corner. Just to give it a nice, because see how it rounds it out? And I want more of a rounder look than a harsh edge. So we'll do 5 in each corner. Now when you come to your sides here, you just want to go in, you know, at spots that you can find. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be too uniform, but you just want to evenly space out some single crochets down the edges. So just where, you know, wherever you can find a spot, and just evenly space them out all the way down the side. Especially since these were a little bit different. You know, we did the daisy stitch, so the sides are a little bit awkward. So just evenly space them out down the side. You don't want too many, you don't want too little. So just down the side, and then when you come to this corner, do your 4 or 5 in the corner, go across the bottom, do your 4 or 5 in this corner, and then come up this side, and I'll meet you when we're getting close to here. I just thought about it, and I want to show you guys this. When you come down and you're working on the bottom part, remember we skipped a stitch when we were doing the initial, so just make sure you get in both of these spots here so that you're not missing any stitches. So every single space that you see down here, just make sure, because this one looks a little weird right here. I don't know if you can see that, but see between these two, you want to work in there too. You want to get under that part there too, so that you have an even amount of stitches and it doesn't pull or you know. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. I'll meet you back when we get to the other side here. Okay, I'm just coming up around here, and I'm just fitting, I'm getting in where I can fit in all the way down. And then we already did this corner, so you're just gonna find that first single and slip stitch to it. And if I can, I will. Well, I'm not in both loops there. There we go. Thanks for cooperating, project. Okay, so if you notice, they're a little bit rounded on the edges instead of it being like a I don't know how to describe it, but so that it's not like a V and where there's sharp edges, they're rounded at the corners. And that's all I really was looking for. So, like I said, 4 or 5 in there will be fine. Now we're going to start the actual border. That was just so that we had a base to work on. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. It doesn't really count as anything. We just need something to build off of here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's count it as a stitch, because this will be, we'll work into the top of this to close it off, and we'll jump into the next stitch here. And we're going to yarn over, and I'm going to try and do this slow for you guys. So you're going to yarn over, and into this next stitch, you're going to go in there, and you're going to pull up a loop. You want to pull it up nice and tall. Match it with that chain 3. Okay? You're going to yarn over, and you're going to go back in that same stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop nice and tall. Okay, now we're going to jump to this next stitch. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go into that next one and pull up a loop and pull it up nice and tall. You're going to do that one more time in that stitch. You're going to pull it up nice and tall. Now what you want to do, make sure these aren't all, you want to pull through. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops. You want to pull it through 8 of those loops. Okay? And I'm stuck. There we go. Then pull through the last 2. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we've created all this pouch here. These loops in front here, we're going to go behind them, and we're going to do 4 single crochets. And you want to make sure you get behind all of them. And I'm splitting my yarn bad. So you do 4 single crochets behind these loops. There's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. So then you create this little design basically. Oh, and that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. So you're actually going to skip the next one, and then you're going to start that again. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the next, and you're going to pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and go in that same stitch, and I dropped it. You make sure you pull it up nice and tall. You're going to go in there and pull up another one. And then you want to go into the next one. You're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and do it twice. Yarn over and go in there one more time. Pull up a loop. Pull through the first 8. Pull through the last 2. Now we're going to do those 4 single crochets behind all these loops in the front. So basically you're going in the middle of all that and putting 4 single crochets in the middle of those so that it sits on top. And then you'll get this real pretty looking, and you'll have this in the middle, but don't worry about it. You could always chain 1 in between these if you wanted to too. It's all personal preference. I think it lays just pretty, and I want mine to be lacy and flowy anyways, so that doesn't bother me. So it's completely up to you. So we're going to skip 1, and we're going to do that again. I'm going to show you one more time. You're going to go in there, pull up a loop. Well, you're going to yarn over and go in there. You're going to yarn over and go in the same one, pull up another loop. Make sure you pull these nice and tall because it makes it easier to get those single crochets in there. You're going to yarn over and go into the next one, the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then one more time in that stitch, and then pull through 8, pull through 2, and now 4 single crochets in the middle and this yarn is probably not the best for this, but once you get going, it gets real easy. And so you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and you're going to, you know, just go all the way around and follow around the corners, and they don't have to land perfectly. They're just for decoration anyways. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you when we get close to over here. Okay, you guys. This yarn, I'm just going to tell you guys my opinion on this Kobu yarn. It is pretty yarn, and I'm sure it works well with certain things, and some people have more patience than I do, but it is a yarn that is made up of strands, and it just comes apart like you wouldn't believe. So working this particular stitch was a bit of a project, and I would not suggest it for stuff like this, because I even have some that look real ugly, and I wouldn't share that with anybody. I made this once other time, and it looked a lot better. I'm not proud of this one at all, but a lot of it is me not having patience with the yarn, and I will admit I have no patience. But when you come up to the end here, if you have 2 stitches left, just skip them both and slip stitch to that first chain 3. You can leave that little gap because we've got gaps in between all these, and then just tie off and sew in any ends you have to sew in, and then you got yourself a pretty little doily. And I'm sure your guys' turned out better than mine, and I sure hope they did, because it really is a pretty stitch. It's a pretty pattern, worked up the right way. I may work up another one with different kind of yarn. I may even use a 4-weight and see how that turns out with a bigger hook, and so that I can put a different picture on the thumbnail. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. And if you have any questions, leave comments and I'll get back to you. So thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.